Hello, this video is on dividing a polynomial by a quadratic. Perform the indicated division. So we'll be using polynomial long division to see whether this is a factor of this, right? The whole point of this is to divide and see if this is some factor of the numerator. So I have the division problem set up here. So, I'll run through the steps. I know they don't make a ton of sense, but it's pretty easy few steps. So if you just kind of watch and follow along, I think you'll get it pretty quick. So the first step is to ask, how many times does x squared go into x to the fourth? Well, x squared times what equals x to the fourth? Well, remembering our exponent rules, we need x squared times x squared is x to the 2 plus 2 equals x to the 4. So that's x squared times x squared equals x to the 2 plus 2 equals x to the 4. So if you remember your exponent rules, this is pretty easy. When you multiply two x's with the different exponents, they add. So we put the x squared up here. And now the next step is to multiply this x squared through this whole equation, and we'll put it below this one. So x squared times x squared is x to the fourth. X squared times x is x to the 3. X squared times negative 1 is minus x squared. And now what we're going to do is subtract this entire thing from this entire thing. So if it helps you, you can write it out. If not, that's fine too. You can just do it directly. But the important thing to remember is that you're subtracting this whole quantity. So you need to distribute the negative sign if you're going to do it like this. But I'll show you that in a sec. So let's set this up here. Put a negative sign in front because we're subtracting this from this. So we'll subtract each term. That's distributing the negative sign. Let's draw a little line here. Okay. So x to the fourth minus x to the fourth is 0, and that's by design. 3x to the 3 minus x to the 3 is plus 2x to the 3. 3x squared, and now here's the tricky part, minus x squared. So that means it's a plus. That means it's 3x squared minus x squared is minus times minus is a plus. So that's 4x squared. So that's plus 4x squared. And I actually like to put a placeholder in here. We can see that there's no term for the negative 2, so we'll put a plus 0, right? That's the same thing. And so we'll get negative 2 minus 0 is still negative 2. So we just bring down that negative 2. And now we rinse and repeat, do the same thing. So how many times does x squared go into 2x to the third, right? So we're going to need to multiply by a 2 and then by an x to get 2x to the third. So that's 2x, right? So 2x times x squared equals 2x to the third. So we need to put that 2x up here now. So that's plus 2x. Okay, and we do the same thing. Multiply this through by that. So put a little space here. Alright, so 2x times x squared equals 2x to the third. That's by design. We want those to always cancel out. 2x times x is plus 2x squared. And then 2x times negative 1 is minus 2x. So let's perform this subtraction problem again. So you can draw a little line underneath this. Okay. Do the subtraction problem of this first one's going to be 0. Again, if it helps, put it in parentheses and put the negative out front so we remember to distribute. And then we'll do 4x squared minus 2x squared is 2x squared. So plus 2x squared. And then we actually don't have any x term, but we have an x here. So let's put a placeholder here. So plus 0x, right? That's just 0x. So 0x minus minus 2x, let's write that down, 0x minus minus 2x, that's plus 2x, so we just get plus 2x. Plus 2x. And then now we don't have any term for the negative 2, so we can do plus 0 here. And negative 2 minus 0 is bringing down the negative 2. So let's bring down that negative 2. Okay, so one more time it looks like. What do we have to multiply x squared by to get 2x squared? Well, this one should be pretty easy. So that's a plus 2 times, so 2 times x squared equals 2x squared. Alright, so we get 2x squared here, and again those cancel out, and that's always by design. So 2 times x is plus 2x, and then 2 times negative 1 is minus 2. And I hope you can start to see something suspicious here. They look pretty similar. Let me move this. Okay, so let's, again, we'll put some parentheses and minus and make sure to distribute. And we can put a little line underneath it to help us. Okay, so 2x squared minus 2x squared, that's 0. 2x minus 2x, that's 0, so plus 0. And then minus 2 minus minus 2. So again, minus 2 minus minus 2 is minus 2. It's minus 2 plus 2, which is 0. So again, plus 0. So it looks like we have no remainder here. So that's good. That tells us that this is a factor of this, and the other factor is x squared plus 2x plus 2. That literally means that this times this equals our divisor here. And that's what this means, right? So if you were to look at this equation, you could divide this off by both sides, and you would get this. And that's what we started with. That was the original question, right? This is the exact question we set out to solve. Move this down a little. So I hope you can see that polynomial along division is a good tool in helping us to factor things, right? Sometimes we'll get a remainder and that will tell us it's not a perfect factor, but in this case we got 0 as a remainder, and that tells us this is a perfect factor of this, and it's the product of these two equals that, right? We just had that. And I hope this helped. If you're still confused, please email me and I would be happy to help.